Hello students, now we will start with new topic, that is population attributes. What is meant by population? Population can be defined as the total number of offsprings or total number of living organisms of a species living in a specific area at a specific time. So we'll write the definition of population as, it is defined as total number of living organisms of a species in a particular area at a specific time or at a particular time. We can also write here at a given time. Now, then what is meant by attribute? Attributes are the characteristic features of populations but not the characteristic features of individuals present in that population. When we are talking about the characteristic features of population, then we use some of the attributes. Those are nothing but the characteristic features like natality, mortality, etc. Those are considered as attributes. So, attributes are characteristic features of a population but not of individuals. The scientific study of human population is given with a term called as demography. The scientific study of human population is called as demography. Here we can take many examples of populations that are given according to NCERT textbook, like cormorants. Next, in wetlands. What are cormorants? Cormorants are large, black, diving birds. Other examples we can take like bacterial culture in the laboratory or in the petri dish. Bacterial culture in a petri dish. Lotus plants in a pond. And also teakwood trees in a forest. So these are all considered as the examples of population. If you see, what are examples under population attributes? Some of the terms like natality rate, mortality rate. Next, population density. Next, sex ratio, age pyramids, etc. If you see, first one, that is natality rate. Natality rate, nothing but the birth rate of the organisms in a population. So, natality rate means birth rate or newborn individuals in a population. Here we have used the term like birth rate. So, this is natality is indicated with the sign B, small alphabet, that is B. If you take some examples to explain natality or birth rate, let's take a pond with 20 lotus plants. After 1 year, the number increased to 28. It means that 8 number of offsprings are newly born. So if the question is what is birth rate, we can take the number of newly formed organisms by the number of organisms that are initially present. We can take 20. Answer is 0.04. But we have to just give a sentence framing for this answer. So we can say the birth rate is 0.04 offsprings of lotus. In the question, after 1 year we have said, so we will finish this one with per year. The birth rate of the population, lotus population in the pond is 0.04 per year. Next one is mortality, means the death rate. This means number of organisms that are dead in a population. In a particular time period. This is indicated with sign small alphabet, that is D. If we take out one example, let's take 40 number of fruit flies are present, but every week 4 number of fruit flies are being dead. If the question is what is death rate, we can write the number of organisms that are dead every week divided by total number of organisms. So answer will be 0.01, 0.1. We can finish this answer as 0.1 fruit flies per week, because 4 number of fruit flies are being dead every week. So we have finished the answer with per week. Next one, sex ratio. When we are talking about the total number of male organisms and female organisms, or when we compare male and female living organisms in a population, then we use a term like sex ratio. In a population, when male and female organisms total organisms then we use a term like sex ratio. For suppose, take out a population. For suppose if the number of male organisms are 40% and number of female organisms are considered as 60%, then if we have to represent that one in a ratio form, we will write male is to female, that is 40 is to 60. It can be 2 is to 3. Now we can tell the ratio of the sex ratio in so and so population is 2 is to 3. Population pyramid, it is a graphical representation of the total number of organisms in a population. So we can write population pyramid can be defined as the graphical representation of different organisms or different species. Sorry, different organisms at a given time. Here, when we are representing the population pyramid or the graphical representation of different organisms at a given time, then we represent population number on x-axis and whatever the characteristic feature, it can be age or the sex ratio of the organism, age or sex of organisms in a population on y-axis. If you write the graph like this is x-axis and y-axis. Here the population number, and here will be age of individuals or the sex or type of sex ratio of the individuals in a population. So here we have used the term like age. Age distribution, it depends upon natality and mortality in the population. Age distribution, it depends on natality and mortality. This age distribution or the population age distribution of this population pyramid, this is of 3 types. So we will write population pyramid is of 3 types. What are those 3? First one, rapidly growing, or expanding population, or expansive population. Second one, stationary population or stable population. Or steady population. Next, third one is declining population or constrictive population. So these are the 3 types of populations. If you see, the rapidly growing or expanding population or expansive population, it is triangular shaped. Next, steady population or stable population. This type of population expresses bell-shaped age pyramid, bell-shaped age pyramid, or rectangular shape of the pyramid. Rectangular shape of pyramid. Next, this declining or constrictive population, it shows urn-shaped, URN. Urn shape of the pyramid. Urn shape means this is a jar-like which is used in olden days to prepare mummies, or nowadays it is used as a flowering pots like this. This is called as urn. So here, rapidly growing or expanding population or expansive population is of triangular shape. Stationary or stable or steady population is of bell-shaped age pyramid or rectangular. Declining or constrictive population is of urn-shaped. First, we'll see about rapid growing population. which is also called as expanding population or expansive population. Shape of this population, triangle shape. In some types of populations, the number of young individuals are more. Some types of populations, they have more birth rate. So, the number of young individuals are more in some types of populations. Comparing to the reproductive means reproductive aged number of organisms or post-reproductive number of organisms. So, according to a recent survey, there are more than 36% of Indian population with age below 14 years. So, we can take Indian population as a best example for expanding population. According to recent survey, there is 36% increase of individuals below age 14 years, of below age 14 years. So, Indian population can be taken as best example for expanding type of population. We can represent this population as more number of pre-reproductive individuals, which are more in number comparing to reproductive age individuals, which are more in number comparing to older people, which are termed as post-reproductive individuals. Second type of population are stable population or stationary population or steady population. The shape of this, some types of population which are exhibiting such type of populations or such types of graphical representation that we are going to learn are rectangular shaped or bell age pyramid or pillar shaped or square shaped. These are different types of shapes of stable population or steady population. Here, in some types of populations, we see equal number of reproductive aged individuals and pre-reproductive aged individuals or young individuals. So, in such cases, the graph can be explained as, so here if you write, these are pre-reproductive individuals and the next one as reproductive individuals. Here we can see the number of young ones and the number of reproductive aged organisms or individuals are same. In some populations, the total number of youngsters and reproductive aged individuals are same. But the post-reproductive aged individuals or older people, their number will be naturally less because here there will be mortality. This is post-reproductive aged individuals. Here we can take best example like Austria country, in which the reproductive aged individuals and pre-reproductive aged individuals number is same. Here we can say older people number is less naturally due to mortality. This is about stationary population or stable population or steady population. Third one is declining population or diminished population. Shape of this population is urn shaped. This is a flower pot like. Next, in some types of populations, the death rate of young ones is high, or there will be more stillbirths, or after the birth, because of the resources that are not properly available for the young ones, the death rate of the young ones or the death rate of pre-reproductive aged individuals might be less. In such conditions, the number of youngsters or young individuals will be less compared to that of post-reproductive or reproductive aged individuals. In some populations, the death rate of young individuals is more and lifespan of aged people may be more. In such conditions, the number of youngsters or young individuals will be less and the number of aged people or post-reproductive individuals will be more. So, we can write this one as, can take this one as post-reproductive aged individuals. Here we can write due to available resources, better resources. We can write this one as reproductive aged individuals and young one are less. Pre-reproductive, though the lifespan is more, the number of post-reproductive individuals is less in the graph because naturally death rate will be existed in post-reproductive aged individuals. This is considered as the urn shaped of declining population. Example, we can take Japan country. So these are the three different types of populations. First one, rapidly growing population. Second one, stationary population or stable population. Third one, declining populations. Next population attribute is population density. Population density can be defined as the number of individuals or the number of human beings, because we are talking about the demography, means study of human population. So the number of individuals in an unit area at a specific time period. The number of individuals in an unit area at a specific time. This is defined as population density. Means if In some area, the number of hen are 10,000, and in other area, number of hen are only 1,000. We say in area A, the population density is more comparing to area B. It is less. It is more. More population density, less population density. In specific time, which is indicated with alphabet T. Next. So, population density, it is indicated with sign N or alphabet capital N. In some of the practice questions, they are using for population density as capital D or P and D. This one they are using, this one they are using. So please try to understand the question, and if they have given like this, please don't think that population density symbol is capital N, but this is wrong and all that. They are giving, so we can consider this one as population density or density of the population. So try to understand how the question is given and how the options are mentioned, and write the correct option there. So here there is an equation to calculate population density. So N is equal to number of individuals per the space available for the individuals or the space occupied by the individuals. Space occupied by individuals. Here at specific time, so this will be the population density. We can write this one as capital N by S, which is indicating population density. So we can write one examples like Union Territory with dense population in India. Answer can be Delhi. Next, the state with dense population in India. It will be UP, Uttar Pradesh. We will see one of the term called as census. This population density or the population attributes, the total number of organisms, all these are calculated and given, and during that process we use a term like census. What is meant by census? Census means the total alive population number that is listed in the first 4 months of first year in a decade. That I am going to write here. Census means the total number of alive individuals noted in or present during first 4 months of first year in a decade. Means in a time period of 10 years, if you take the first year, in that first year also, first 4 month total number of alive population is considered as census. For humans, the population density is calculated by number of individuals per square kilometer area. But for tigers, the population density is calculated by the number of pug marks or footprints, and also the number and types of fecal pellets. For tigers, the population density is calculated by seeing number of footprints or pug marks types of fecal pellets. Next, about population growth. Population growth can be explained as the increased number of individuals in a population or the dispersed group. So here we will see the size of population and what are the factors responsible for population density, etc. Population growth is increased number of individuals in a population or in a dispersed group. Here, this population growth rate, it can be calculated as new number of organisms or the individuals that are formed, new population or new individuals, we will write new individuals minus original population which is divided by original population. Into 100. If you do such type of calculation, we will get the population growth rate. We should understand one important point, that the size of the population is not always same. That same we are using with the term like static. It is not static. It keeps on changing basing on the habitat, food material that is available, the habitat that is supporting for the population to grow, and also the predators which are killing only some types of species, etc. And also the adverse weathers. Climatic changes also decides the number or the size of the population. So we can write size of population is not a static parameter. Size of population always keeps on changing due to availability of food resources, next predator pressures, and also adverse weathers. What are the factors that are responsible for population density? Factors responsible for population density are, first one, natality, second, mortality, third, immigration, fourth, emigration. This natality and immigration, both of them cause increase of population. Mortality and emigration, both of them cause decrease of population. First one, natality. Natality means already we have learned that nothing but the birth rate during a given period in a population. Natality means the birth rate of individuals in a population at a given time period. So that what happens? To existing population density, the new organisms are added, so the population density will be increased. So new ones are added to initial density. Next, second one, mortality. Before going to that, if you want to calculate the natality, the new formed organisms divided by total population, if we calculate like this, we will get natality rate. Second one, mortality, means death rate. When death happens in some of the individuals in a population, then it means that some of the organisms were decreased in that population. Death rate of individuals in a population. This is indicated with B and this is indicated with. So if you want to calculate the mortality rate, the same thing, number of dead organisms by total number of offsprings. Total number of individuals. If we calculate like this, then we will get mortality rate. Next one is immigration. When some number of organisms or individuals of the same species have entered the initial population, then the population density will be increased, and this we will explain during one particular time period. If few same species, if few individuals of same species if have been entered a population, then density increases. So this should be at a given period, given time period. Next one, emigration. If some individuals of same species have moved out of the population, then the population density will be decreased comparing to that of the previous one. If some individuals have been moved out, then population density decreases. Next is about population density at a given time period. This is basically written as T plus 1. What does this plus 1 indicates? So, plus 1 of T plus 1. Here, this indicates the increased number of population after 1 year. So, means we are writing here or defining the population density as the number of individuals that are increased or present in a particular given time period. So, when we are writing about the formula, we are writing density of the population at a given time period. Density means the number has to be increased than the existing one. Then only we will say that population density is increased. So, it indicates the increased individuals after 1 year. The formula or the equation to calculate population density is number of individuals at a given time period, means after 1 year, that is equal to the initial number of population plus the birth rate plus immigrated population minus death rate of the population and also emigrated number of individuals. But if you want to see the population density very soon, then if we wait till the completion of natality period, it may take some time period. So in a new habitat that is newly colonizing, immigration is more important to express population density than natality. You'll write population density because natality may take some time. Time to increase. This is about population density at a given time period. We will see this one with different growth models now. The growth models to explain population density. What are these growth models? Growth models are specific patterns, or we can also say the predictable patterns and the predictable patterns. Predictable in the sense we can use some symbols and do the mathematical calculation to explain the population density number or the population of the individuals. Predictable pattern of growth of population. This should be with the time, in a time period. We know that growth of population takes place with regard to food source that is available. And habitat conditions. Means both biotic and abiotic factors should be comfortable or should be suitable for the organisms or the individuals to exist in the population. There are two types of growth models. One is exponential growth model. Second one, logistic growth model. Exponential growth model, this pattern can be framed when sufficient continuous food material is provided for certain population. Means this one we can do in the lab. Can be studied in lab. But if we go for nature, in nature there might not be continuous availability of food material. There may be up and downs regarding the weather conditions or different factors that are deciding the growth of the population. So this can be studied in nature, means outside the lab. Exponential growth model, it is also called as geometric growth curve. Now, shape of this exponential growth model or geometric growth curve is J-shaped. Logistic growth model. Logistic growth model, its shape is sigma shaped or S shaped. First one, exponential growth model. This model explains how population has increased in an over time. As a result, the number of individuals increased. The number of individuals that reproduce have been increased. Without regard to resource limits, because in the lab we are continuously providing the required food material and also providing the climatic conditions for the individuals to grow. Resources available or resources limits. You can use any of the term. Shape is J-shaped. So any species growing in this exponential growth model, they are provided with unlimited resources or unlimited the beneficial conditions for increasing in a short period. So total population size is indicated with capital N and birth rates represented with B, death rates represented with small alphabet, this is D. Then increase of the number of individuals during a time period. This can be written with a formula, that is density of the population in a time period, that is equal to birth rate minus death rate into N, means total population of the total size of the population. Total size of population. B minus D means birth rate minus death rate is equal to the intrinsic rate of natural increase. Of population. This is also said as is equal to biotic potential. Biotic potential, or this is also considered as is equal to growth rate. So this is indicated with symbol small r. So we can write density of the population in a time period, that is equal to small r and capital N, means the intrinsic rate of the naturally increasing population with that of total size of the population. This one we can represent in a graph form by taking time period, that is dt, and with that of population density, which we are indicating with capital N. Now the shape of the graph will be like this. So here we can write dn by dt equal to Rn, or dn by dt is equal to b minus d n. This is about the graph. This same equation in mathematical calculations or mathematical representation is written in mathematical calculus as total population size at a time period t, it is equal to initial population size e power rt. What is this e, r and t? We will see now. Population size at time period t. This is written as population density after time t. Previously we have written as plus 1. That can also be considered. N0. This is initial population size. At time 0. So this 0 is indicating the time. Next, R is intrinsic rate of natural increase of population. Intrinsic rate of natural increase of population. E indicates the base of natural logarithms. There is a standard value, that is 2.7. The R value changes from population to population. We can take R of rats in Norway is 0.015. R of flower beetles is 0.12. R value of human in India is 0.02. So these all measurements are during 1981 year. But what about the current? R of means intrinsic rate of humans in India in 2022, which was calculated in April. We can take it as 0.01 or 1%. Second one is logistic growth model. This is done in nature. Here, the food resources are limited. Next. Here, we see carrying capacity. What is meant by carrying capacity? Size of population that can live indefinitely using only the available resources. For a certain time period. Whatever the available food material or whatever the conditions that are favorable for growth of organisms are only used by the population or individuals in that population. That is called as carrying capacity. That is, carrying capacity is followed by the organisms that are explained under logistic growth curve. So we can say here habitat and ecosystem has carrying capacity. We can also say in this case of growth curve, there is asymptote. Asymptote in the sense there is declining of, or there will be steady state in the graph. The shape of the graph is sigmoid graph. Shape is sigmoid. This is S-shaped. So if you take the time period, next, and also population density, the graph will slowly increase, suddenly increase its number, and after certain time period there will be steady state of the graph. So this initial stage when the organisms are being increasing slowly, this is indicated with lag phase. When they are suddenly increasing their number, this is indicated with exponential phase or log phase. This line indicates steady state of the graph. Here, the carrying capacity can be written in an horizontal pattern like this. Means organisms are from the beginning to ending of the population number, they are using only the available resources and constantly increasing their number. Now, the equation that can be used to calculation of logistic growth curve are density of the population at a given time period, that is equal to total number of organisms in that population into K minus N by K. What is this K? K indicates carrying capacity. Now, this total K minus 1 divided by K, this indicates environmental resistance. By the organisms to survive in the population. Next, we should remember K, we can mention here carrying capacity, this one. And this is time period on the x-axis and population density on y-axis. Here we have written the sigmoid graph. And lag phase is very slow, exponential phase is very fast, and steady state, there is no increase or decrease, just the number of organisms that are present in steady state will be constant. Sometimes this steady state is indicated with a period of a decline. Period of decline. This is considered as asymptote factor. This is asymptote. This term is used when explaining about period of decline or steady state of exponential graph. This is about the growth models.